Ever feel like you're like right on the edge of something amazing, something you could do, but there's this like voice in the back of your head holding you back?
Oh, yeah.
Today we're diving into Mel Robbins' 5-second rule, and this might just be the thing you need.
Yeah, it's wild how such a simple concept can be so powerful, right?
It's true.
But it's not magic, it's science. Like, we're going to break down how our brains work.
We are getting into the nitty-gritty with Mel Robbins' book, The 5-Second Rule, because we want you to walk away with tools
Like actual strategies.
to finally conquer those goals. You know, the ones that have been hanging out on the to-do list for a little too long.
Too long.
Um,
And really just step into a life with more courage and intention.
Okay, so Mel Robbins, the mastermind behind all of this,
Yeah.
she wasn't always like this ball of confidence,
Hmm.
you know? Picture this. Career uncertainty, worried about money, that feeling of being stuck.
You know that feeling, right?
Oh, totally. And like, get this, she's watching a rocket launch on TV.
It's random.
Total aha moment.
Yeah.
And it's fascinating because our brains do that, you know? They like nudge us toward our goals.
So our brains want us to take action, but then why do we hesitate?
Because our brains also love that comfort zone.
It's true.
It's like a survival thing, right? The unknown. A little scary. So we get that signal to change and then boom, doubts, fears, excuses, they all rush in.
Our brain is like battling itself.
Totally.
Yeah.
And often that fear, it wins, right?
Yeah.
And then we're stuck or wishing we had just going for it. The 5-second rule, it's like this way to stop that overthinking loop.
So what do we just like shout out a countdown whenever? I mean, you could, but there's a bit more strategy to it. It's a deliberate countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then you act. No overthinking, just action.
So we're tricking our brains into just doing the thing before it talks us out of it.
Exactly. That countdown is like this jolt to your prefrontal cortex. You know, that's the decision-making part of your brain.
So we're like hacking our brains to be brave.
Basically.
I love it. Okay, tell me more.
Ah.
Hacking our brains for courage, I'm into it. But how does this actually like work in real life?
So it's not about suddenly becoming fearless, right?
Right.
It's about those small everyday moments where we hesitate, where that inner critic starts in.
Okay, I get that. Give me an example. Like, when have you seen this work?
Okay, Mel tells this great story in her book about this woman, Christine. She was terrified of public speaking, like even just speaking up in a meeting,
Oh, I feel that.
right? But she used the 5-second rule and it changed everything.
How? Tell me more.
Okay, so she's at this big meeting at Cisco and she has this idea,
Okay.
but she's feeling that panic, you know, the one that makes you want to just disappear.
Yes.
But this time she did the countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, pushed through the nerves and spoke up.
What? And
Her idea. It was a game changer for the project.
no way.
Yes. But even bigger than that, it shifted something in her. She realized, wait, I can do this.
That is so powerful. Like, one small act of courage can change so much.
Exactly. And it's not always about these huge life decisions. It can be getting out of bed when that alarm goes off instead of hitting snooze, or
Yeah.
finally having that conversation you've been putting off.
Those little things that feel so hard sometimes. So the 5-second rule, it's like a shortcut to action. But what about procrastination? Like the big bad kind. Is there a 5-second rule for that?
It's funny you mentioned procrastination because Mel talks about two types, destructive and productive.
Okay, I'm listening. I'm a professional procrastinator, so I need to know this.
Right. Sometimes we need those breaks, you know, to let our minds wander.
True.
That's when those great ideas pop up.
Moments.
Exactly. That's productive. But then there's that other kind, the kind that stops us from even starting.
The kind that keeps us on the couch scrolling.
Exactly. So how do we break free? Think about it. We procrastinate because our minds go wild.
Oh, yeah. Thinking of all the ways things could go wrong.
Right. The 5-second rule is about taking action before those thoughts can spiral.
Intercepting the negativity.
Yes. And Mel talks about this idea of future you.
Future you. Okay,
Yeah.
what's that?
It's like picturing yourself down the line.
Okay.
Who is that person you want to be? What have they achieved? And when you're stuck, you ask, what would future you do?
Oh, I love that. So we make choices that align with the vision we have for ourselves.
Exactly. And that builds real confidence, you know?
It makes sense, right? Like, it's not about never being afraid. It's about doing it anyway.
Yes. And each time you use the 5-second rule, you're proving to yourself that you're capable of amazing things.
So it's like we have to build that confidence ourselves
Totally.
by actually doing stuff, not waiting for it to just show up one day.
And you know, Mel tells all these stories about people who've done just that, right? Like, there's this one about Trace who used the 5-second rule to finally, like, break out of this rut and
Yeah.
go after this passion she had for photography.
Love that.
Or Anouk, who was so afraid to fail, but she started her own business.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
It's like each of these little moments, like where we choose to be brave,
Hmm.
they all add up to something bigger, you know?
Totally. It's about realizing, like, we don't have to wait for the perfect moment or anything.
We have the power already.
We do, to change stuff, to make the life we want. And it starts like, now.
It's like that quote from The Alchemist about the treasure being right where you are, you know?
Oh, yeah. That's such a good one.
Right. It's so easy to get caught up in looking for something else, you know, outside of ourselves.
Totally.
When really, everything we need is already here.
It's true.
So the 5-second rule, it's not just about like getting out of bed or speaking up in a meeting.
It's bigger than that.
It's about it becoming a braver version of ourselves.
Yes. And bridging that gap, you know?
Between thinking it and doing it.
Exactly. Because that fear, it might stick around, but we don't have to let it run the show.
This has been amazing.
Right.
I love how simple yet powerful this is.
And anyone can use it.
It's true.
You don't need anything special. Just be willing to take that first step, even if it feels a little scary.
So as we wrap up here, what is one tiny act of courage you can do in the next 5 seconds?
Yeah, what's one thing you've been putting off that you're ready to finally commit to?
Like maybe send that email, book that trip, or just decide to, you know, show up a little bolder today.
It all counts.
Because you have the power to change your life, one 5-second decision at a time.